Shane Jones.
Kia ora no tātou e te whare. Ko te wiki o te reo Māori, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Sir, there's such randomness in the life of a politician. But, sir, I stand, given that I have enjoyed a promotion onto the very fine, powerful Finance and Expenditure Committee as of the last week, and it falls to me to support Mr Burns and Mr Cunliffe and show that our party, sir, the Labour Party, support this bill, and it was actually Labour Party policy. Sir, it was part of a suite, sir, of options that we introduced to ensure that the institutions essential to good commerce are adequately regulated. And, sir, the ideas lying behind this particular bill serve as a very timely reminder that those of us who are parliamentarians need to be vigilant when problems strike the commercial sector. So, sir, it's very sad that I cannot say that about my colleagues on the other side of the House. Sir, Mr Hodgins, Mr Watson lives free, but they hound Hubbard. Sir, this ensures that people, not on rumour, but people based on institutional transparency in the insurance industry will be held to account, sir, for their decisions and the commercial discipline that we expect in key institutions in this particular sector, sir. Now, sir, this bill has had a long gestation period. Sir, its gestation period, unfortunately, has been held up whilst our colleagues over here have visited their attention on relatively petty things and their impact to the economy. Sir, that's why there's a great deal of support on our side of the House, because we actually want to see, sir, those New Zealanders who rely on insurance institutions not only adequately managed, not only adequately capitalised, sir, but held to account in a very strong, transparent way. So that's why this particular bill will enjoy support from our side of the House. Now, my colleagues have turned the debate onto a very important but largely unseen area, sir, and that is prudential circumspection. Now, don't get that word wrong, Mr Quinn. Don't get that word wrong, Mr Quinn. Circumspection will reign, sir, very highly to ensure that when people save, when people dedicate funds, when overseas investors come here, they know that our institutions are regulated to the highest standard possible. So we've heard, sir, I don't want to have the debate deviate onto people with mental problems being put in prison. That lies with Mr Garrett. Let me come back, sir, to the actual purpose of this legislation, which in a broad global sense, sir, ensures that New Zealand has maintained its high-quality reputation. Now, sir, there's been a bit of work take place in the broad area of where savings are held, how equities, sir, might be invested in, and how people can take confidence that once they need help, either from a bank or an institution such as an insurance company, it will be there. But, sir, in order for that to happen, capital needs to flow, and the Capital Task Force, sir, with its fantastic ideas, repudiated, enlarged, a very good one picked up by our leader, parried aside by the other sides of the House. So that shows that there's a broad level of interest in these, sir, in these commercial matters. Now, one thing, sir, I must agree with the South Island member, Amy Adams. She correctly points out the smaller organisations won't be afflicted by this tide of red tape that we're seeing day after day, sir. Whether it's foolish notions or an unwillingness, sir, of courage to make the right decision about driving regulations, etc., the connection between alcohol and bad decision-making. Not that I can blame alcohol, but we've seen an enormous amount of bad decision-making over the course of this week from that side of the House, sir. So when this bill finally comes to pass, which it will, sir, as a consequence of our support and the current government taking forward the original policy, sir, which was laid down by that peerless parliamentarian, Dr. Cullen, dwarfed by the current front bench? No. Had it not, sir, been for his commitment to savings, conservative macroeconomic management, sir, the current government would not have had the opportunity to make even the puny attempts they've made to improve the prospects of our economy. But, sir, when prudential regulations, for example, are made, sir, we need to ensure that they are adequately scrutinised. So we cannot suffer a further reversion to Muldoonism, as we're beginning to see signs of from that side of the House. So that was a style of government where regulatory making power was used holus bolus, without the quality of parliamentary scrutiny that such important issues, such as regulating the commercial sector, where people's savings or people's well-being at vulnerable points in their life. Now, sir, the member from ACT has talked about his impending vulnerability. Sir, after the three strikes debacle, he has much to thank the insurance industry for, because that will be his sole source of livelihood. He will no longer, sir, be back in this House, and that, sir, will actually be an interesting episode in our recent political history, how a person from relatively obscure origins could come, distort the criminal code and then go. But, sir, that's another matter. That's another matter, sir. Of course, a key part, sir, of what the insurance industry has to deal with is distress management. Distress management, sir. And, sir, today and yesterday, we've seen a fine example, sir, of Mr. Brownlee standing up, sir, and lecturing us on gaps. Sir, but beneath his rhetoric was evidence of great distress, because, sir, that man identified the standard that he desired to be judged upon, i.e. the gap between the earnings of a Kiwi and the earnings of an Aussie. So, and what he has shown, despite him inviting the rest of the country, and indeed us, perish the thought, to judge his performance on that basis, he has demonstrated, number one, he didn't understand it. Number two, he no longer believes in it. And number three, he's reverting back to half-recalled, vague recollections to do with the OECD. Sir, that's why not only is the insurance industry successful in identifying distress, we as parliamentarians on this side of the House have seen an example of distress management in the form, sir, of Mr. Brownlee. Sir, let us now turn our attention, which is another reason why we'll support the entirety of this bill, to recovery plans. Sir. Now, sir, that particular segment of the bill, I find, has a certain resonance, a recovery plan, sir. So we need to ensure that all institutions, sir, which are going to respond at a point when either society, firms or individuals suffer a calamity, have the ability to rise again. Sir, as a member of the Finance and Expenditure Committee and a proud member of my caucus, sir, we look forward to enabling this bill to actually, sir, play a key role in ensuring that people don't disappear or lose the ability to cope with stress, sir. Because we've seen an inordinate amount of it in the front today. So I don't have much to say about Mr. Grosser. No, sir. The Prime Minister, completely and utterly incapable of articulating, sir, where he might see such essential institutions in the world of commerce, such as the insurance industry, stay. And, sir, the key point that I'll finish on, sir, is that we look forward to supporting this bill.